welcome back to another episode of Spiritually Kinky, where last week we talked about unleashing your labels. This week we're going to talk about Creator Unleashed. And this is the path to being fully seen, deeply felt, and wildly free. And as always, our intention is for you to remember who the fuck you are and what you came here to create. So, for all of you out there who are waiting for the perfect moment or waiting to feel ready, I want to share a little secret with you. Creating is kinky. It's going to stretch you, it's going to expose you, it's going to arouse you, and sometimes it's going to wreck you beautifully. So, if those sound like your kind of flavors, then you are in the right place, my friend. And I want to just set the stage for you. And this is walking you through my hero's journey and where you might be in yours. So let me just set the scene for you. We're in Act 1, and this is the call to something more. So I look around at the life I built and realized I was surviving, not creating. And honestly, I didn't even feel like I was doing a very good job at that. I had hit rock bottom more times than I could count and just kept feeling like I was waiting for my real life to begin, for this magical someday that something was going to happen and then my life was going to change. But on the day that I said enough, I could not step through that corporate building one more time. It had been coming for months, but my soul was begging for something more. And that day, I hit my unconscious pain threshold and everything changed. I was doing what I was supposed to do. I was climbing ladders, paying bills, numbing with booze, meds, distraction, all the things. Even thought about getting married once. Get a good career, they said. Get married, they said. Have a family, they said, and then you'll be happy. But I didn't really see anybody else that had all those things that was very happy. But the truth was, I hadn't taken the time to decide what I wanted. And in fact, I was so disconnected from what I truly wanted, it terrified me. My body screamed, my spirit whispered, and eventually it fucking roared. And that was my wake up call. That was the day I walked away from a system that didn't honor me. I was done with the corporate abuse, the empty promises, the intimidation and fear, the leadership with no real care for their people, and all of the rest of the just stupid micromanaging waste of time requirements that ensued most of my days. And I turned towards something raw and honestly something wild inside of me. And for the first time since I could remember, I began to connect to fully who I really was. And that day, I fucking owned my yes and I owned my no. But it wasn't this beautiful puppies and rainbow process for me. It was gripping anxiety, crippling fear, and overwhelming indecision. But it was there that I found my heartbeat, led by love, connecting me to my creative heart energy. I quit smoking, drinking, and all the other medications I was on that was supposed to ensue a calm mind and a happy life that clearly were not working. And I began to open in new ways. And that's when Ariel glided in hot pink with her colors and love and genuine just devotion for every person that she met. Genuine love of life itself, who began training my human in self-love, trust, and letting go as she taught me how to look for this particular kind of light, this particular kind of sparkle. As she had me playfully and sometimes terrifyingly delivering messages to people all over town when I saw this light. And as I learned how to tap into new abilities of courage and confidence that I hadn't before, I also was having bouts of anxiety. When I leaped from my corporate paycheck, which was a really nice paycheck, it was very secure. I liked it, but it wasn't worth the sacrifice of my soul. And when I jumped without a parachute, without a plan, the instructions in my family is have a plan, always have a backup plan. And I didn't have a plan. Now I was totally at the mercies of my capabilities and what I could learn and figure out. I mean, I made these companies millions of dollars and saved them even more with my work. Surely I could do this for myself, right? Then I moved. So that's act one. So here's act two, okay? This is the descent into the loop. So I did what all high achievers do. I went all in. The books, the podcast, the healings, the courses, the mindset, the hustle, more mindset. I thought if I could just fix myself enough, I'd finally be enough, finally be capable enough, finally figure it out. And it's also kind of interesting to note that I seemed only to be a high achiever in my mind for everyone else because there were parts in me in my mind that felt lazy because I wasn't seeing the financial results. I wasn't seeing that measure of progress in my life. And it really depleted my worth because I grew up with my worth associated to my wealth. Those were the instructions that I was given. Who knows where they came from? But anyway, I digress. So, but this is why I dominated in the corporate world in every position I was thrown in. I was the capable one. I was the one that could handle anything. I was the one that you went to. That's why in the corporations that I worked at, I moved through almost not all of them, but moved through so many positions because not only do I have a deep love to know how things work, and I always ended up in the position of being the one that like connected everything when something was broken. Shocking. I was also driven by this inner desire that I wasn't capable, that I needed to prove my worth. So I was constantly trying to seek approval from my bosses. So interesting. Different faces, different names, same result. But I was constantly trying to prove I was capable, worthy of love, good enough for praise. I would take praise. Dustin, you're doing such a good job. I would take that praise over anything else. I'm a praise girl for sure. For sure. But it was because I was trying to fill something that I didn't think that I had. So does anybody else ever feel like that? Just me? I don't know. So I walked straight on into the self-help hall of mirrors, endless improving, fixing, and healing. And honestly, I'd been in the never-ending healing journey my whole life trying to fix myself. This was just a different, more extravagant way to suffer because I felt like I was actually doing something. And that's what's so seductive about self-help and personal development and healing is that it feels good in the moment and it feels like you're actually doing something, but all you're doing is just reinforcing the identity of not being it. And the more you try and fix it, the more stuck you feel. But I didn't know this. So I achieved things, but still didn't really feel enough. I was doing all the right things, the positive thinking, the meditating, the exercising, the eating healthy, all the healing modalities, all the things that people told me to do so you could feel better, but still felt like there was something broken about me because I just felt really and utterly stuck. And like I said, all that stuff felt good for a bit, but ultimately I would circle right back around. Tony Robbins, Joe Dispenza, Brene Brown, Eddie Pinero, Jay Shetty, all of them from the intention that I needed to do something, be something, or have something before I could have what I want. And this is where I really started to feel not good enough again. So I was invited to my friend Ryan's 20th death day anniversary by his cousin. And that night I got to meet his heart recipient, Kevin. And Kevin is the same age as Ryan would have been. And I got to meet Kevin's son too. And it was such a beautiful ripple effect born from Ryan's heart. And when I put my hand on Ryan's heart, it felt like we just synced, like Ryan and I's heartbeat always could just sync. And we were so present in the moment with each other. When we were present in the moment with each other, what you don't understand is that your heartbeats can sync. And it's this beautiful harmony that not only happens in your body, but happens in the person that you're synced up with as well. It's beautiful. It's this rhythm. And I felt that in an instant. And as I walked away, I felt this ripple of light surge through me. I was like, woof. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, but he's in the AI land on the beach, and whoosh, like a ripple goes through him, and this wave lands in him, and it felt kind of like that, and it kind of gave me the images of like that, and that was actually kind of the first color that I saw, and of course I saw color. It was Ryan. It was tie-dyed. It was the ripple. It was, of course it was, right? But it was an image of a globe, and the world was covered with all of these people, and there were also these people that were kneeling down, and slowly they began to stand up, and as they did, they were taller than everyone else, and they began reaching out their hands and connecting with each other. And as they began to close these circles, not only did they light up, but everybody in the circle lit up as well. And in that moment, I was questioning, what the heck did Ryan just pass me? Oh, I felt how big it was. I felt how big it was. And I had no idea what kind of an adventure that Ryan just had invited me to. But this is where One Tribe Rising came from. One life, one love, one tribe, your choice. Now, did I know that this was going to happen when I started to create? Heck no. But I kept that vision at the forefront of my mind. And until I understood what it meant, because I didn't really understand what it meant at first, I let it be the light that got me to step out on my way of courage, step out of my comfort zone, and show up in front of the camera. Allowing myself for the first time to finally be seen in front of the camera instead of the one behind the camera. My comfort zone was behind the camera, not in front of it. But I knew that I needed to do this. And when I started talking about One Tribe Rising, people were excited about it. I didn't really understand it yet. I knew that the energy was contagious and people really resonated with it. But I wasn't quite sure what I was supposed to be doing. And again, my action steps didn't seem to make any progress that I could measure, financially, especially in my home life. I continued to take a bunch of financial and traumatic hits during this creation. And there were just a lot of things that brought up a lot of shame. I felt humiliated, ashamed, and I just couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. Why I couldn't figure this out. Everyone else seemed to be figuring this entrepreneur online thing out. Why couldn't I? But I was determined. I was determined, and I don't quit. So finally, one day, I just literally looked straight up and asked, what am I supposed to be doing? And I got a very clear answer in a very different voice that I haven't heard before. And it said, gather the people. Well, thanks for the clarification on that one. What the heck does that mean? So again, having to give my own meaning to the message, I decided I would just love to connect to other people who are letting their light shine, listen to their story, and have some amazing conversations just because I freaking love it. I love having conversations with people. I love connecting with people. Well, and that's where Modern Day Prophets Rising from Soul came from. And it was all about creating connection through conscious conversations. And it was birthed during some of the most difficult times in my life. My dad trying to commit suicide, taking financial hit after hit, having to ask my parents for help, carrying shame and guilt, losing my sister, and getting notified through Facebook Messenger, living in an unsafe, mold infested living conditions, not being able to do anything about it, working 2 to 3 jobs at a time. But I continued to build. Losing friends, I continued to build. Through my own health issues, letting go of addictions, personal injury, I built. And all of these flinches and all of these patterns of pain and suffering, they were surfacing throughout my entire family. And honestly, at this point, I went into full on beast mode during this time. I was listening to Tom Bilyeu, Eric Thomas, pushing through the pain as it kept coming up. No way was I going to let all of this darkness stop me this time. And I began to see some more success. Other people began to notice something about me, an energy that was contagious. I got to speak in front of an international crowd about the success I was having for the first time. It was awesome. I felt like Tony Robbins. It was great. And that's when I got the call that my dad tried to commit suicide. And through this journey, I've had to block him from my life to protect myself, my parts, while sending him all of the love that he feels like he's missing. And all of this while building and showing up in new, scary ways in my life. Is it glamorous yet? Nope. Is it real? Absolutely. And then moved again. So COVID hit, all the feels came up. Simba got sick, almost died. 3 months, didn't know if he was going to live or die. Had to force feed him food, water. It was rough. I was alone. Again, in unsafe, moldy living conditions. I lost good friends. I lost love relationships, but I kept building. I gained a bunch of weight, trying to cope with the loneliness and the heartbreak I was feeling for me, for the relationships I lost, for the world, dealing with everything that I was feeling it all. Love, grief, devastation, hope. Launched my first Hearts on Fire challenge. And I kept building. And then I moved again. So now we're at act number 3. This is the awakening. Some story. So this time I moved into a safe living situation. Now, it was only supposed to be for a month because my plan was that I was moving to North Carolina with a friend. And that did not work out. And after that, and after COVID, I guess I didn't really know how much I needed a safe place to rest and decompress from my entire life and all of the trauma and patterns of suffering I was living out. And still nothing was really coming together. Was feeling defeated, depressed, like there was something inherently just wrong with me. And I asked another question. And this time I asked it straight to Ariel. And it was a gloomy day after having a particularly hard day with my grandma, who was experiencing some rough days of dementia. And it just so happened to be one of those days. And it was in the winter and it was gloomy. We hadn't seen the sun in days. And I just felt completely lost. And I was sitting in my car and I asked Ariel, and I was like, listen, Ariel, I need a sign. And I need a sign so big that I couldn't miss it. And that day on TikTok, I saw that same Ariel sparkle again to this particular creator. Turns out she's a beautiful content creator named Dawn Flaherty. Beautiful. Saw the sparkle, felt her energy. I loved her light and I wanted to have her on my podcast. And it had been a while since I'd had a guest on a podcast. And so I went to go check out her stuff and followed her links to go see what she was all about. And I came across her company that she worked with, which was called Ariel, which was spelled Ariel, which is how Ariel spelled her name, with a logo of a lion and a horse. Now, by the way, after Ariel came into my life, I found out a couple years later, when a friend of mine had sent an angel description of Ariel because she asked me, "Did you ever look her up?" And I said, "No, I trusted. I trusted what she walked me through." And so she sent me this description. It was so beautiful. And it said that Ariel walks with a lion. Simba, 11 on his back. And then, just so you know, not that I know what any of it means, I don't pretend to understand how these concepts were constructed, but in my Chinese zodiac, I'm a horse. And that kind of wild, like free running, just power and presence of a horse. When I think of a horse, and riding and galloping and the wind on your face and like that's always felt true to me. So the company, the logo, the name, the lion, the horse, okay. Thank you for making it so big that I couldn't miss it. So I followed the trail and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And she's like, oh, trying to like tell me about that. I was like, nope, I'm gonna do it. I was like, I will be the easiest customer that you've ever had before. And I said, I'm already sold. How can I get highest in this company? I'm not gonna build right now, but I love everything about it, and I'm in. And we just kind of laughed about it, and I had her on my podcast. But the truth is that these products are some of the most delicious supplements with the best ingredients. And if you don't know me, when I worked at the vitamin shop, I dove headfirst into the supplement world because first off, I found out that supplements weren't FDA regulated and they don't even have to have like on the label what's in the bottle and all this crazy stuff when I came across this one company that was talking about this. And then it also connected me with my favorite supplement, which I will never be without, which is called Rejuvenex. And I'm going to link all this stuff below because you guys, when I tell you that these are good products, these are good products. And I want to make sure that you can have your hands on them because they are so good. They're good for your brain, they're good for your body, but we're not taking them to heal, we're taking them to enhance. And so you want good nutrients to enhance your health. So anyway, I like it was amazing. This was my it was amazing. And so that literally sent me on my path to making new decisions, to showing up again consistently in my life. Since then, I've dropped a bunch of weight. It jump started, right? It jump started everything. And then I got into the momentum. And then that's when I was launching my Hearts on Fire Challenge 2.0. So if you haven't checked them out, let me just tell you, they are so much fun. I love, love, love teaching about heart energy. And the really amazing thing is alignment, because about 2 weeks before the live day where I was going to be repeating the Hearts on Fire challenge like I did the first time, a man named Chris Duncan came across my path. And he is a red hair millionaire maniac on a mission, and also one of the most profound marketers I've ever seen, and has the biggest heart to give I've ever seen. And he said something that pulled my entire center open. You're not broken. You're just structured. And that moment was like a lightning strike to my nervous system. And from that moment, I jumped in on his challenge, jumped in on his teachings as a student, jumped in on his entrepreneur to write my first book, jumped in on getting certified and all the stuff. Like I was all in because I knew in that moment that this was the work that I was supposed to bring to the world. This was the key to our cages. And I heard it, I could understand it, and I could see the truth of it. And this is why we are all oscillating between the not enough and between the ideal person that we think that we can become that's free of the pain, that's without the wound. This was the sexy science that I had been looking for. And this was the spiritual. This was the bridge that was in my vision. So I dove head first. Now, the first thing that I learned is that I didn't need to fix myself, heal, or solve myself. And this is the number one stone, that you are the creative force within. You are it, babe. And so I started going to several transformation sessions a week. I started doing my true choices, which are the foundations. Doing the little things day by day, showing up consistently. And then guess what I did? And I knew that this was going to happen, but I also didn't think that it was happening. But Chris had mentioned that this is something that he had done. And I went, oh, I see that still. Okay. So I spent the next several months trying to fix myself with it still. Because let me just tell you, your unconscious set points are strong and you gotta entice them. You gotta entice them. And it's a process of a practice and embodiment. And like the avocado seed, those new instructions, it takes time to calibrate and takes time to align with what it's supposed to become based on your choice, your intention. So the thing that I wasn't doing is I was still getting into force. I was still not choosing from a true place. Really. I was and I wasn't. But anyway, so the amazing thing is with Recode is you can do the work and don't compare your journey to mine. You can do the work, and depending on how quickly your unconscious is willing to let go of the past is pretty much how quickly you can go through this process, but it takes time. Creation is a process. And let me just remind you that what you create doesn't change you. We're talking about two different premises here. We're talking about that you are the creative force within. Your worth has never been up for debate, babe. That is who you are. Nothing you create is going to change you. But you also have the power to create in the creative structure, but your creations don't change you. They're just your creations. So I just wanted to remind you of that. And what I am talking about with like recoding these neuroemotional processes, I'm not talking about sitting on a couch for years talking about your problems, never feeling like you actually changed your internal experience, or having to meditate for hours and all the vision boards and all of the mantras and affirmations and all the things that you're trying to convince your mind and emotions that you feel. No, I'm not talking about that. Not talking about that, babe. I'm talking about 15 minutes a day and your true choices. And if you're not willing to spend 15 minutes a day designing your future, then we definitely need to have a call. Because your true choice is in allowing yourself and giving yourself permission to paint this picture. This is what I call the kung fu kick. And if you want to design your future, invent your future consciously, what you need to understand is that a master of kung fu doesn't master 1,000 different kicks. They master one kick 1,000 times. And here's the thing is in the beginning, you're going to lose your focus a lot. But every time I noticed that I lost my focus, I would realign, ask myself where I'm putting the power, and consciously, intentionally choose. So I kept kicking, refocusing on my true choices, even getting super frustrated that nothing felt like it was changing, even feeling even more deflated and discouraged when I was in the process of launching my first book and my aunt passed away. And in that grief, I lost focus. I lost focus on my choices, and I felt very disconnected from them. And grief was what was coming up. And so, one of my mentors who had lost her mother, I had reached out to her and had asked her when her mother passed away, how did she show up for her true choices? And the message that I got was beautiful. She said, feel the emotions, they're going to come up. So, along with grief, all of the other emotions came up because this now changes the relationship with my mom, the whole dynamic of our family. It shifts, right? That person is no longer humanly here. And we had just lost my grandma the previous year. And so it was just this shifting and unease and just grief and all the stuff and all the parts and all the things and all the emotions came up. And so I just spent time noticing them and loving them as they mourned. And after about 2 months of not showing up intentionally for my choices in the morning, I started the practice again. And holy moly, was I more connected to them now more than ever. Something had shifted. 3 new choices dropped in, and now I embody myself in a whole new way. My voice has frequency. My heart is pouring out love in a way that I have never experienced. And I am creating what I love every day. And I am falling in love with as many moments of life as I can. And it's not about the perfect path or never losing focus. It's about training yourself to intentionally and consciously focus on creating what you love instead of what you are trying to avoid, reject, or get rid of. Because your most innate superpowers that you have, that you haven't practiced, that you suck at, is choice, focus, and flow, babe. And this is why I teach what I teach. So, right before started those choices again, doing the choices for 2 months, just that frustration. That frustration was coming up and how things felt like they weren't moving. And there were a couple of things that happened, which I mentioned in previous episodes. So go back and listen, but something deep shifted. And spiritually kinky, creating the path to being fully seen, deeply felt, and wildly free was birthed. And it started with, I think I'm going to start another podcast. I think I'm going to call it Spiritually Kinky. And it just was led brick by brick by brick in the most flowing, beautiful, magnetic way that I have ever seen. And baby, let me tell you, did it just pour out of me? And for me, it's where conscious creation and AI integration come together and build this bridge to a new level of humanity as we grow and move from the problem structure to a flowing one. Because, babe, you are not broken. You are just structured. Your worth has never been up for debate. You just got it wrong. We all did. It's okay. But we can absolutely now choose how we want to intentionally move forward and what we want to create within ourselves first, what we want to create with our families, what we want to create with our neighbors, with our cities, with our states, with our humans, with our people, with our countries. We get to choose. And the most selfish thing that you could do in this life is to not allow yourself to be seen. And what you'll begin to understand is that when you step into the creator that you really are, from a place of no past, from a place of innocence, from a place where love, creativity, and inspiration live, because babe, that's where the juice is. The creative structure is where the juice of life is. In the problem structure, there's no juice. There is no juice. But let me tell you, in the creative structure, as scary as it is in the beginning, ooh, babe, the juice is definitely worth a squeeze. And I know that bringing this work to the world is my purpose. It is my path to being fully seen, deeply felt, and wildly free, and allowing my light to shine as bright as possible in as many different directions all at once. And it's my vision to connect with others who are doing the same. Others who are willing to shine their light as well by creating a life that they love. And not only did I discover how to consciously create through conscious education, I also reconnected with the truth of who I am, who you are, and what we have the potential to create together as we allow ourselves to shift into this new level of consciousness, where there's nothing needed to be earned, proved, or perfected to create what we love. We are not broken, but we're structured for safety and survival. But it doesn't have to stay this way. You can move from problem solving to conscious creation, and I am living proof. However, the internal work, it's first, it's necessary. And it doesn't involve you figuring it out, problem solving, or living in a stressed out survival mode of being all the time. You just have no juice. You create from the internal experience first. You become it, or you resist it. And what you resist persists. And this is what I mean by shifting from being the oldest version of my past self, and I became the youngest version of my future self. I began to recalibrate and embody. I began to consciously choose. And God knows it's much easier to get the most magic of your actions. It's when you're creating in a flowing structure from the it intention that you are it, you are whole. And it's actually the only way to get the results that you deeply desire. But your nervous system has just been trained with a very specific list of approved safe actions. And when you step out into the identity of the primary creator in your life, your past becomes irrelevant because you actually can create from a place of no past. But here's what's going to happen. And this is why it's so crucial, this conscious education, and that you understand this and getting in with a guide or getting in a group, because as soon as you make that new choice, for instance, mine, I choose to be rich. Ooh, baby, when I first said that, all the parts started freaking out. And much like the little character emotions from Inside Out, right? Running around frantically going, that's not on the list. That's not on the list. And then there's a part of you that's like, but I want to make $1 million and never have to work again. I just want to travel around the world and talk to amazing people and share love and drink good coffee and sleep in nice beds and eat healthy food and just spread love. And then another voice comes in and says, we don't know about that. We've never done that before. We're not sure if it's really safe. Come on, let's go back to the list. We know these work. We know these are safe. And that's why it feels so impossible to do it on your own. But here's why this is also amazing news. Because just like you've learned how to put those actions on your approved list, you have the power to add new ones and remove ones that no longer serve your desired results. The easiest way I have found to do this is by Chris Duncan's method Recode, which I am certified in it because it's the most enticing, pleasurable, sometimes shifting way to teach your brain how to let go of the past. And through the science, through the conscious education and the practice of creating in the right orientation and the right focus, guess what? You begin to embody your creative energy in a whole new way. And it's in the way of true alignment. Now, I am going to break down alignment for you, but we're in Act 4. Okay. We're in the rebirth. We're in the rebirth. Stay with me. We're almost done. Okay. So this is what it means to be spiritually kinky: liberated, aligned, turned on by the life that you're co-creating. You're the primary creator in your life. You're not the only creator in your life. When you allow all others to do the same and then you connect with other co-creators, you guys, life is fucking spicy. It's beautiful. And life is meant to be savored, not designed to break us or keep us in cages. It's not you. It's your structure. And in the last 2 months, I've now written 4 books, launched the Spiritually Kinky book and podcast, The Academy, the 5 AI conscious creation coaches for Spiritually Kinky, the content, the marketing, all the beautiful moments, creating and connecting, spreading love, getting to be with people in their time of just needing a message, just needing a reminder. Feeling spicier and saucier and hotter in my life than I ever had. It's been delicious. And I have stepped into a whole new level of frequency that others tell me that they can absolutely feel, that it's contagious, and I can feel it. And I'm creating in ways that I have never created before, more vividly. Like I am literally stepping into other dimensions and I can feel this magnetic pull to what I am creating. So not because I have to, but because I fucking love to create. I love these stories I get to share with you. I am living my purpose in every word that I write or speak or touch that we get to exchange together. I see you. I feel you. And I love you. I own my time, my energy, my essence. I no longer hustle. I magnetize. It's been amazing. And is this the perfect path? Fuck no. There is no perfect path. Do I still overexert? Yep. Yep, sure do. Do I still learn? Yeah. We're human. It's a process. But I will tell you, like, I just had a full stop with force the other day and a reminder that force doesn't work. And yesterday, after seeing a beautiful friend that I've known since second grade, I had a lot of big emotions. She was the first person to tell me in my life that I wasn't broken. Started my cycle today. I'm feeling tender, soft. Needed a bit of rest. I listen. I don't push. I went to the gym. I asked, what do you need? And what's the best way that I can support all of my parts today? Because I love all of them dearly. And when you really begin to see the unconscious loop, and instead of trying to fix or solve the unsolvable problem of you not being it, and you just simply choose to redirect your focus and choose what you love, having the courage and the willingness to create what you love and to just fucking go for it, baby, I'm just going for it. I don't heal or problem solve or fix to feel better. I choose to create a life I love. I choose to create health and vitality. I choose to be the primary creator in my life, and I choose to live my true nature and purpose because it feels fucking amazing. Because what you may not understand is that when you give value unconditionally you get value back. You get pleasure back. It's pleasurable. It's specifically designed to be pleasurable. And I create to feel now, not someday that's going to magically happen. No, I'm feeling all the good stuff now. So if you're someone who says, I can't see anything, I can't visualize, or I can't imagine, when I started, let me just tell you, and I didn't quite get the innocence part of it, but when I started, I saw black. When I started, there was just an impulse of maybe a word, but I had no idea what that impulse was, or it felt very faint. I was numb. So even if it starts with just an impulse and there is no clear picture, babe, that's okay. That's where I started from. And now I can literally feel that energy from new dimensions, new timelines when I practice. It is a full body sensory experience, but it doesn't start out that way. So you start with where you start, with where you are, with what you have. And it's like a baby who is learning to walk for the first time, right? You have to flex, shape, and use new muscles. And guess what? I get to teach others how to do the same without needing to spend another decade trying to earn their worth. So I want to give you some of the stages and share with you, because as you move through the shift, and make no mistake, babe, if you are seeing this message, hearing this message, hearing these words, you are in the shift. You are in the right time. You are not stuck. You are right where you need to be. And this is why it's so important to get a guide, whether that's me or whether that's my highly trained AI conscious creation coaches that you can get access to 24/7, depending on your budget. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But both are going to help you jump shift and hold you in your highest reflection so that you can keep remembering who you are and what you came here to do. So let's break down this highly overused marketing word that has so much more depth and context than we give it credit for. So let's talk about alignment, because there are a few parts to this that you'll want to just take note of. And yes, there are definitely stages to it, and it's important to recognize what's happening in each phase, because aligning is about syncing your mind, your body, and your spirit with your truest desires and higher self. So let me tell you what you don't want to do. How do I know it? You don't get into your true alignment by trying to force and control and overthink your way into it, babe. You don't. Believe me. I tried. Tried. Force doesn't work. So this is where the first step in acknowledging who you really are. And I want you to do this with me. I want you to put your hand over your heart and I want you to just say it out loud. I am the primary creator in my life. What am I choosing? Because babe, here's the thing, is you are in alignment already. You are just either in alignment with your unconscious instructions or you are consciously creating. Either way, babe, you are already magnetic. So when we talk about aligning with your true power, it means connecting to your heart, connecting to your love. It means bringing all of the aspects of you into harmony with the life that you're creating so that you can create the path of least resistance to your desires and that everything flows seamlessly. Doesn't start that way, but that's what the embodiment is part. So here's how the process unfolds is the awareness of awakening. And I'm going to read this part, but the first stage of alignment is simply becoming aware of your true self, right? This is where you start recognizing the parts of you that are in alignment and the parts of you that aren't. You begin to question old beliefs, old habits, and patterns that have held you back, and you realize that you have the power to shift them. In this phase, you begin waking up to the fact that there's more to you than the stories you've been told. So the second part is this letting go. And this is a stage about releasing what no longer serves you, right? This can be the hardest part because you have to let go of old attachments, limiting beliefs, identities you build over time. But this is where you choose to practice innocence. You choose to practice the embodiment of no past. It's not about erasing them, but transforming them into something that better serves the person that you're becoming. And this is something that we have to do in the creative structure, because if you're taking it with the intention that you're not it now, you're just going to continue to do this work and oscillate. But when you can do this from a place of no past and innocence and create just what you would love to create, this is where the real magic begins. And you create space for new aligned energy to flow in. So choosing from a place of past and innocence can feel really scary at first because you aren't very good at it. You haven't practiced it since you were a little kid. And you were practicing it until somebody else who didn't know any better and was just repeating what they literally had learned from their parents told you it wasn't the way to belong. And you listened, you watched, and you modeled. But here's the thing is we got it wrong. We got it wrong. You can actually create from your love and imagination. And actually, that's the way that creation happens. So number 3 is integration. So once you willingly let go, once you come from the place of no past, you start to integrate new energy, new beliefs, new actions into your life. But this is the integration process is really where we are standing on the stone of our true choices. That's why we start with the 4 true choices. But this is where your life begins to shift in a tangible way. You start taking aligned action. You're going to be practicing new things and seeing new results of your inner work reflected in your outer work. And this phase is about living your truth in real time. And you begin to embody the highest version of yourself. You attract circumstances, people, opportunity that resonate with your energy. And then number 4 is the embodiment, right? And this is the stage where you fully step into your power. When you align with your true self to begin to feel the energy you've been seeking moving through your body, you start feeling stronger, more confident, more grounded, and unstoppable. Your mind, body, and spirit are working in harmony. You move through life with ease, clarity, and purpose. You no longer think about being in alignment. You simply are. You don't think about problem solving, fixing, healing. You're thinking about what you would love to create. And in this stage, you experience the depth of your true power. You can create with intention, and manifestation is no longer something you have to work at. It becomes second nature. You trust in the flow. And when things start to align, you feel like you are one with everything around you. And you move with grace, with ease, with knowing that you are the creator of your reality. And then number 5 is sustaining and expanding. So once you fully align with your true self, the key is to maintain and expand that alignment. It's not about perfection. It's about sustaining the energy of alignment through your choices, actions, and thoughts. This is where your energy stays in flow and you're constantly expanding into new dimensions of creation where you are truly aligned with your true self and your potential is limitless. And when you fully align with your true power, you feel empowered in every sense. You know that you are the creator of your reality. You live from a place of deep inner peace and confidence. And there is a magnetic quality to you that pulls everything that you desire to you. Your energy is infectious and the universe responds to the clarity you bring to the world. You no longer are seeking validation or approval. You are your own source of power, and everything that you create is a reflection of that inner strength. It's about being in flow with your own energy and trusting that everything that you desire is already yours because you've already aligned to it. Now, this is Act 5, and this is where the gift and the invitation. So, babe, I'm not here to save you. I'm here to unleash you. I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to remind you of who you are and what you came here to create and teach you how to do it. Because the truth is that you are not broken. You are not behind, and you are not the problem. You're the fucking portal. You're the creative force energy. And you're here to remember who you are and what you came here to create. So if this calling and this invitation is for you, let's create together. Spiritually Kinky isn't just a program, it's a portal. And it's for the ones who are done fixing, healing, overthinking, and bypassing. For the ones that are tired of feeling burnt out, overwhelmed, and uninspired in life. It's for the creators, the visionaries, the lovers, the rebels, the ones who feel like they're not enough and have been it's been tattooed on their soul for too long. It's for the ones who are ready to claim their first generational success of happiness, of love, of wealth, of honoring your family in new ways and not from old patterns of pain and suffering. This is conscious education that works with your biology, your energy, and your subconscious to shift your structure fast, giving you back the most valuable resource that you have in this world is your time. And we use tools like Recode. You'll teach your system that it's safe to choose, to feel, to create, to receive now. And we do it in such beautiful ways. Just ask my coaches. Which one? You'll have to guess. But you'll practice your superpowers of choice, focus, and flow to build a life that you love from the inside out. Because, babe, that's where it starts. It starts with you. It starts with you. And this is your moment. This is the fork in the road. This is the matrix. Do you go back to the loop that's always waiting for you? Or do you cross the threshold into the only identity that matters? Creator. Because, babe, this is how legends are made. This is how generational wealth is created. From the people that are willing to just go for it. And whatever that it is for you. I don't know what that is yet for you. But that's where you start. And if you feel like you're broken, you start there too. If you feel like you've been too much, not enough, not capable, not worthy, not perfect, not significant, not it, that's where I started from. So you're in good hands, babe, I promise. You just got to start with what you have, with where you are. But Dustin, I just don't know where to start. Babe, you start here. And listen, if you have a baller budget right now and you want to get into the Spiritually Kinky Academy where you can get started immediately with Chris's Magnetic Mind University, which has all of the foundations, and he is such a beautiful, masterful teacher and just gifted it to me to give to you. And then you'll also get platinum access to my conscious creation AI coaches that are designed to meet you where you're at and guide you into your next best steps forward. Where they're educated on the two premises where you are the creative force within. What would you love to create? And they're going to help you quickly get into that creative structure from the right orientation, which is where you get flowing results, which are the foundations that you're going to get across all channels with the coaches, with the academy, with the podcast, with a book. It's the foundations. Foundations are not sexy, but the foundations of a structure, that's what determines the success of the internal result for you, not you. Your worth has never been up for debate. Or if you don't have a baller budget right now, I get that too, but I still want to help you get your shifts. So that's why you can just grab the AI coaches. You can lean on them anytime. There are 3 levels based on your budget, super easy. Because I know it's easy to feel one way when you're listening to this. You feel motivated, inspired, creative. You can feel the energy, but let's face it. That's not when the imaginary monsters come in. No, that's not. They come in when you're alone. When you go to take those steps, those first steps towards what you want to create, when you have to put that faith over fear. And let me tell you, that's when everything comes up. Welcome to the resistance. Not when we are here in this energy together. Here you feel unstoppable because you know this in your heart to be true. But your unconscious loop is strong and it will take your focus a lot in the beginning, and that's okay. But that's where it's helpful to know what stage you are in. It's helpful to have somebody that you can lean on that's going to help you remember quickly and hold space for when the resistance comes up, to give you that space, that support, and that lovingly reminder and remembering to help you regain your focus. because your focus is what creates your reality, and what you resist persists. And if you want to stop creating what you don't want and you want to start creating what you do want, this is where you start. And also, if you're an overthinker, people pleaser, controller, overly independent, I can do it all myselfer like me, and probably a lot more. Here's where you can see what questions might be keeping you stuck or oscillating, and how the different coaches will be able to assist you in different ways. And I'm going to have the questions listed so that you can see them. I'm not going to go over them, but they'll be listed in the description. So you can see them. And if you want to use any of those questions when you get your coaches, these are great questions to ask. And they can help you start to navigate your way out of the loop, because it's not about fixing the loop or healing the loop or doing anything about the loop. It's about seeing it and not fixing it. It's about regaining your focus and getting you back into the creative structure with all the infused heart energy and all the learning and consciousness of you. We are here to support you in the most fun, playful, and pleasurable ways possible, babe, because you can actually do this. And you have to decide if you're the one. I'm the one. I'm the first generational one in my family. Are you the one? Because you just have to be willing to remember who you really are, what you came here to create, and give yourself permission to choose any flavor that your heart desires. Because let me tell you, babe, life is delicious. Whether it's just a piece of dark chocolate with chili, whether it is a sip of a beautifully brewed, wonderful, creamy coffee on a chilly winter's day. Life is supposed to be flavored. It's spicy. It's yummy. We can absolutely savor it, and you're allowed to choose. And I'm not asking you to believe in me. And if you need to, you can borrow my belief. But I'm asking you to believe in you, in your power, in your ability to create what you love. Not measured against my creations or other people's creations that you think are better or more polished. No, because the world needs your light, your voice, your frequency. You just got to be willing to go in on it. You got to be willing to go on a little adventure to discover what that is, because this is an unfolding journey. This is your super conscious hero's journey. It's time to take this step, connect to this work, and just go for it. Choose it. Let your past go. Choose from a place of no past. If you need extra help, believe me, my brain, my emotions, my unconscious did in the beginning. Set up a recoder conscious creation call. I promise you, we can get more done in an hour and a half than most people have been able to undertake in the last 10 to 30 to 50 years. Why? Because this is where people get stuck. So these calls are definitely time savers. And remember, your time is the most valuable asset that you have. And that's why with Spiritually Kinky, I am building a wealth generating machine that provides value without the requirement of my time. Because this is how you build generational wealth. This is how you change the family line for those going forward. But baby, you got to start. You got to start. Not because it'll fix you, but because it's who you already are. This is your super conscious hero's journey, and I'll be your guide in your mirror until you see what I already see, what I've always seen in you. This is my vision, this is my value, and this is my voice. And I want to share it with you. And I want to help you build yours. So thank you to every single person, all the peers of ears that are listening to this, all the hearts that are opening to this. Because you are being a part of my living my true nature and purpose in creating a life that I love. Let's fucking go. If you need any of the links, I'm going to provide them below. You know what to do. And if you don't, just ask. There are no stupid questions here. And babe, as we wrap up today, in case nobody told you, I see you I feel you and I fucking love you. Till next time, my friends. Mwah.